Good morning, Mr. Melton. My name is Attorney Amai Cruz. I have the privilege and honor of representing Mr. Faust. And under the authority of this court, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay?
Certainly.
Okay. Why didn't you cry?
When?
Just now. Why didn't any tears fall out of your eyes?
They are falling out.
Okay. Well, let's talk about January 19th. Would you agree that today you were much more emotional than you were on the day that you learned of Ms. Baker's death?
I was holding it together best I could.
So your borderline fiance is murdered and you were holding it together on the 19th, but 25 years later, you have emotion about it?
In that moment, when I'm finding this out.
Mr. Melton, that's a yes or no question.
Judge, the witness is allowed to answer Mr. Cruz's question.
That's correct.
When this tragedy occurred, and I'm taking this information in, I am telling myself inside, do not collapse in this moment. Hold it together. There are other people that are also relying on you. And I had to get through this. And that's where I'm at.
Who was relying on you during your initial interview with police?
The police, her family, her friends, anyone who loved her.
So the police were relying on you to hold it together during the interview?
If I'm not holding it together, I can't think things through.
Sure. Did you know that your DNA was found in Ms. Baker's anus?
I was informed.
Who told you that?
Liz and Jeremy from the GBI.
When did they tell you that? Because in the recorded interview that we have, they didn't mention that to you.
That's my recollection.
My question is when? When did they tell you?
If that's not the correct recollection, I'm not sure at this moment.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time you met with the state?
This morning.
Okay. And they talked to you about your testimony?
We went over what the courtroom would be like.
Okay. So this is rehearsed. Is that fair to say?
I wouldn't say rehearsed.
But you went over it not just this morning. You went over it a couple of times last week. Is that right?
We have established a process in which would occur in this courtroom as far as steps that are taken once I get here or whatnot.
Okay. So the questions that you were asked today, you already knew you were going to be asked those questions, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Melton, I am going to
Can I say something to this?
At this moment.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Melton, would you like a slim mark or a big marker?
Slim.
All right. Let the record reflect that I am going to give you a black Sharpie, okay? I'd like you to write the very first time that you mentioned during your direct examination in regards to your actions or where you went on January 19, 2001. Do you understand that?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
May.
Can you please write the first place you went on January 19th on that board there?
And, Your Honor, I would ask that if Mr. Cruz is going to ask the witness to engage in whatever this is, that be repositioned to a place where the jury can actually see it.
I could do that. We'll start on page 2.
We'd like to also be able to see it. I guess, Judge, do you want us to move, or do you want him to move it over there?
Mr. Cruz, I think perhaps moving that back would be best for everyone to take a look at it. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, sir. You may proceed.
Sure. Can you write the first place you went and the time that you went to that location? Okay. So I want to make sure I'm correct. You wrote Nash Plumbing 7:30 to 7:45. Okay. So you remember from January 19, 2001, you went to Nash Plumbing between those times. Is that fair to say? Okay, but you could not remember when law enforcement asked you if you knew Ms. Baker was going to be alone in 2006? You can take a seat, Mr. Melton.
Along the way, I'm questioned about certain things, and I pull up my best recollection. Post this, I have been traumatized. I'm grieving. My mind is certain things and certain times. It's hard to pull from. And in those moments, stressed also. In times, it's more difficult than others in certain moments to recollect certain things. And sir.
Let me catch up. So it's easier to recollect alibi than it is to recollect whether or not the girl that you love told you that she was going to be home alone.
Remember, this question is argumentative and improper.
Sustained.
Sure. So it's easy to remember where you went on the 19th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Melton, so after you left Nash Plumbing, where did you go?
After I left Nash Plumbing, I went to the bank.
Okay. Can you write the time that you arrived at the bank on the board? You can just put bank and then you can put the time. Okay. Sure. So just to ask you, so you can remember that you went to Nash Plumbing, and then after that, you can remember that you went to the bank from January 19, 2001.
That's correct.
Okay. But you cannot remember from January 18th whether or not Ms. Baker told you she was going to be alone?
At that time, it could depend on when the question's asked. It's not, if it's in a stressful moment, I'm going through things and trying to pull from times prior to this, when I'm not trying to, how should I say, lock in on certain things previous to this, it is difficult.
Okay. Would you agree?
Previous to to her death. Go ahead.
I didn't hear you. Say that one more time.
I should say, It's like certain days, if somebody asks you what you have for breakfast, I couldn't tell you. But if I'm concentrating on after certain times, yes, I can on certain things. But it's hard to describe.
So I'll switch gears because I do want to talk about a difficult subject with you. You mentioned that you were told that your DNA was in Miss Baker's anus. Is that right?
Yes, there was a point in time. Okay. I found out.
And we've agreed that that time didn't occur during your recorded interview. Is that right?
I can't recall.
That is fair. So let me ask you this, Mr. Melton. You would agree that Miss Baker did not engage in anal sex with you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You would agree that Miss Baker was sexually assaulted anally. Is that correct?
I wouldn't really know if she was sexually assaulted anally. Like, I don't.
Well, we can't have it both ways, Mr. Melton.
I don't understand
You previously stated that Miss Baker, not Miss Baker, I'm sorry, Miss Bigham
I see.
And Jeremy Howell told you that your DNA was in her anus. Can we agree on that? Is that fair to say?
Maybe I'm mistaken on how I found that information out. Maybe.
I'm going to object to lack of personal knowledge. Mr. Cruz is asking this witness about information that was relayed to him as hearsay by other witnesses who had the actual information. So I think that's both lack of personal knowledge as well as calling for hearsay.
All right. Any response to the objection, Mr. Cruz?
Sure. Mr. Melton stated that he was aware that his DNA was found in Miss Baker's anus. He stated that Miss Bigham and Jeremy Howell were the individuals that told him, and we're fleshing out his knowledge in regards to what he's aware of, Your Honor.
I think as to the form of the question, I'm going to sustain the objection. You may rephrase if you choose to do so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. But there should be no reason that your DNA should be in Miss Baker's anus. Would you agree?
I mean, other than if we have had sex and it has transferred from there and, say, drained down to that area. But
that is interesting that you say drain, because did you know that's the exact same thing the state is arguing in this case?
Well, I mean, it makes sense, though.
So your DNA is in her anus because it drained down in her anus. Is that your position?
I would say that would.
Again, Your Honor, lack of personal knowledge, lack of foundation. There's been no foundation laid that Mr. Melton's aware of these things. That would all be through GBI crime lab witnesses who do have personal knowledge and scientific information. And so there's no foundation for these questions, and he's asking for things that are outside of Mr. Melton's personal knowledge. He's asking about things.
I would object to a speaking objection, Your Honor, and just ask the state to state the ground.
Okay, I'm going to overrule that objection. He was just explaining his objection. I'm going to respond in the same way as the last objection. I'm going to sustain the objection as to the form of the question, allow you to rephrase if you choose to do so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. Would you agree that in order for your DNA to drain into Ms. Baker's anus, you would have to have sex with her? Can we agree on that point?
Agree.
Okay. Did you have sex with Ms. Baker the day of her death?
No, sir.
The last time you saw Ms. Baker, was it 6 days before or 10 days before?
From the beginning, I've said I saw her the weekend prior.
From the beginning, you've said that?
Yes, sir.
That you've seen her the weekend, and that has always been what you said?
There was a time that I was confused, and it was 20 plus years later. And then I made a statement that I felt like maybe it was 10 days prior, and I was confused at that point because I have always said, from even meeting with the detectives from the beginning, that we were together that weekend. And then time had gone by, and I had even spoke out publicly for the first time.
Mr. Melton, to my question, is that a yes or a no?
Judge, he's in the middle of providing his answer. Again, the witness has a right to answer Mr. Cruz's questions in the manner that he believes the answer should be given.
It's non-responsive, Your Honor, and I would ask the state to stop the speaking objections because they are coaching the witness in the middle of his testimony.
Okay, I'm going to overrule that objection, and I'm going to sustain the state's objection. This witness is allowed to respond to your question, and if he's in the middle of responding, no one can interrupt. You may continue if you choose to do so.
Well, time had gone by, and then I had spoken publicly. At this point, I have stated over and over again that we were together the weekend before. And then there was a point in time that Tara's mother had stated that she was at her house.
I'm going to object to hearsay.
I am going to sustain that objection.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I don't want to send the jury out, but I would like to approach to understand the parameters
approach.
of which I could. Your current residence, I won't say your address, but your current residence is the same residence that your parents stayed in 2001. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And at that time, you stayed in the basement. Is that correct?
At that time, I would have been on the second story.
Forgive me.
Bedroom.
I asked that question wrong. The week before Tara's death, you went to your parents' home. Is that correct?
That's correct.
During that time, you stayed in the basement. Is that right?
No, sir. I think it was in my old bedroom in the second story.
Court's indulgence, Your Honor. So, Mr. Melton, this isn't the first time you've been asked that question, is it?
I can't quite remember.
Okay. Do you recall on May 5th, 2024, being asked where you resided when you went to your parents' home the week before Miss Baker's death?
I don't recall the question.
Say that one more time. You don't recall what now?
I don't recall.
Being asked that question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall making the statement, so I was working there and driving back and forth? Well, my parents, we had a furnished basement. So then that's where I was. Do you recall making that statement?
I don't recall making the statement, but it seems okay.
Judge, I move to introduce I move to introduce as defense exhibit number 32, Mr. Melton's May 5th, 2024 interview with Miss Elizabeth Bigham. Minute mark is 1442 through 1448. And before I introduce this, you do recall speaking with Miss Bigham, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask to play minute mark 1442 through 1448 into the record.
All right. Any objection from the state?
I don't think any of the foundation for proper admission has been laid. However, if this is that interview, the state would stipulate to the foundation for the admissibility.
Can you all confer about whether that's accurate since you're offering to stipulate?
Yeah, this is the interview. Correct. Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
All right. You may proceed. And it is, are you asking to admit it, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
That portion.
Just that portion. Mr. Yalamanchili, are you objecting to what Mr. Cruz has just offered into evidence? That particular disc?
I don't have a transcript pulled up, Judge, but accepting Mr. Cruz's representation that what he's going to play is the answer that he just asked Mr. Melton about that he didn't recall, I don't have any objection
All right.
to that.
And it is that minute mark that the defense has just articulated is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you said that was what, Mr. Cruz? I'm sorry, 14?
1442
Thank you. Go ahead.
through 1448.
Okay.
Your Honor. Okay.
Working there and driving back and forth. Well, my parents, we had a finished basement, and that's
It's a
where I
circle.
was keeping well, pretty much Jersey. driving back and forth. Well, my parents, that we had a finished basement, and that's where I was keeping well, pretty much Jersey.
Okay, did you hear that? I was driving back and forth. We pretty much had a huge basement. That's where I was keeping, and then I cut the audio off.
I hear that.
Okay. So you were staying in the basement, is that correct?
I would stay in. There's times I stay in both. We had finished basement and had the bedroom upstairs.
Okay.
And the furnished basement was set up as a place to stay, a place to hang out for whoever, and then also had my.
Overruled.
So
You may continue with your response.
The finished basement would have like a couch, sofa, TV, things, and my old bedroom upstairs also had a bed and so forth, and I would stay and hang out in one, stay in the other, depending on who was there at the time, if we had visitors or whatnot. So I would stay in the basement if nobody else is using it.
Under narrative.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
Yes, ma'am.
You may continue.
So with that being said, I feel like kind of both are true. I had my old bedroom and they had a furnished basement.
I'd like to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 33 and Defense Exhibit 34. Let the record reflect that I'm showing Mr. Melton what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 33 and Defense Exhibit 34. And Mr. Melton, you recognize Defense Exhibit 33 and Defense Exhibit 34 as photographs of your house. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I believe Defense Exhibit 33 is the side of your house, and Defense Exhibit 34 is the back side of your house. Is that right?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I would move to, have those photographs been altered in any way?
No.
And that's a fair and accurate depiction of your home. Is that correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would move to admit Defense Exhibit 33 and Defense Exhibit 34 into evidence.
No objection.
They are admitted.
Now, Mr. Melton, you would agree there's a reason why you would say that you were staying in the second story of the house, correct?
As far as
There's a back door exit on the basement. I believe that's Defense Exhibit 34, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
there's a basement exit, yes, sir.
And there's also a side exit from the basement, which was Defense Exhibit 33. Is that correct?
There's one exit. There's a door on the backside that goes into like a dead space that's more for access.
So Defense Exhibit 34, the backside is a door to enter and exit the basement where you don't have to go in the house. Is that right?
The side door would be. The back door is not.
But either way, there's an exit there's an exit from the basement and an entrance into the basement. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, you recall your parents talking to law enforcement?
They did.
And they were one of your alibi witnesses. Is that right? Were you aware of that?
I would say yes. They knew I was there.
And you're their only child?
I am.
And by the time law enforcement spoke with them, you had been staying with them for 4 months. Is that correct?
I had started staying with them after this incident. Yes. So, yes.
After Tara's passing?
That's correct.
So if any other witness said you moved home months before, that would be untrue?
That's correct.
I want to talk to you about Miss Baker a little bit, okay? We'll switch gears and come back to some of this stuff. Would it be fair to describe Miss Baker as super friendly?
That'd be a fair statement.
You would also describe her as down to earth?
Correct.
She did not have any racial biases?
No, sir.
And although she was a law student, you would agree that she was not pretentious?
I mean, no, sir. Not unless it's for little specialty things like her collections of things, but no.
Now, is it fair to describe Miss Baker as a casual dresser, shorts, hiking boots, sweat top type of girl?
Yes, sir.
She was more of a flats over heels kind of girl. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
Okay. And she had more of on her day-to-day appearance, she had more of a casual appearance that did not include daily makeup. Is that right?
I would say, light makeup, if any.
I'd like to show you what would be marked as Defense Exhibit 35. Your Honor, I'd like to approach the witness to show him Defense Exhibit 35. Do you recognize the photo of Miss Baker?
It's Miss Baker. Miss Tara.
And is that how Miss Baker, makeup-wise, hair-wise, is that how she carried herself mostly on a daily basis?
I'd say yes.
And that's the fair, accurate depiction of Miss Baker as you would remember her.
I'd say yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I would move to admit Defense Exhibit 35 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Judge.
It is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now I'd like to ask you about the times that you visited Miss Baker's home in Deer Park. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. Is it fair to say that you've probably visited Deer Park more times than you could count?
She wasn't there a terribly long time, but I would say, yeah. We've been there many times.
Okay. And during the times that you'd visit Miss Baker's apartment, you'd see normal foot traffic. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
And that foot traffic was due to a Walmart being on the opposite side of the neighborhood. Is that correct?
I'd say there's a Walmart. Yes, sir. And
now, the majority of that foot traffic, it was African Americans walking. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say.
And those African Americans were typically in the late teenage, young adult range. Is that correct?
I would say it would vary, but I would say young teenagers, I would say.
Now, in regards to Miss Baker's passing, on January 19th, you testified that you went to the scene of Miss Baker's death.
That's correct.
And while at the crime scene, you were asked to identify Miss Baker.
That's correct.
Okay, and you were shown a single photo of Miss Baker. Is that right?
That's correct.
And I'll let the record reflect that I'm showing the state what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 36. Let the record reflect that I'm showing Mr. Melton what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 36. You recognize that photo?
I don't believe it's the photo I saw.
This was the photo that you were shown to ask to identify Ms. Baker?
No.
This was not the photo.
I don't believe that was the photo.
Can you describe the photo that you were shown to identify Ms. Baker?
I believe that her head was turned slightly, and there was coverage.
Mr. Melton, you're just shown a photograph of Ms. Baker deceased, and you have not shed a tear.
Come on now. I think I need a moment, like.
Sure.
Turn it all together. Okay.
So let's switch gears while we're here. You testified on direct examination that you became so upset that you punched the wall in your apartment. Is that correct?
When I unleashed the emotions, yes.
Okay. And when you unleashed the emotions, you became extremely angry. Is that correct?
I was upset. Yes, I was upset at the situation.
And the way you chose to release your emotions was through violence. Would you agree?
Towards that wall.
But you told the jury that the injuries to your hands came from punching the wall. Is that right?
My injuries came from punching the wall.
Okay, and we've already agreed. Well, you've testified that the wall was sheetrock. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'd like to show you what would be marked as 30. Defense Exhibit 37. Defense Exhibit 38. Defense Exhibit 39. And Defense Exhibit 40. Let the record reflect that I am showing the state what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 37 through Defense Exhibit 40. Your Honor, let the record reflect that I'm showing Mr. Melton what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 38 through Defense Exhibit 40.
I have 37 also.
I'm sorry, 37 through 40. Please forgive me. Is it okay if I approach you, Mr. Melton?
Yes, yes, sir.
Please take a moment and take a look at Defense Exhibit 37 through Defense Exhibit 40. You recognize Defense Exhibit 37 through Defense Exhibit 40 as the wall that you punched. Is that correct?
I would say yes.
Okay. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of how that wall looked after you punched it?
I'd say from what I could recollect.
Sure. Has that photograph been altered in any way?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't.
Well, you have no reason to believe that photograph has been altered in any way. Is that correct?
I have no reason to believe.
Your Honor, I would ask to admit Defense Exhibit 37 through Defense Exhibit 40 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
They are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask to publish to the jury.
Granted.
Now let's talk about the injuries to your hands, Mr. Melton.
Yes, sir.
Court's indulgence. And the photographs of your hands have already been admitted through, as Defense Exhibit 29, collectively. And Your Honor, I just asked you to republish the photographs of the hands to the jury.
Granted.
court's indulgence, Sean, I need one of these photographs. Mr. Melton, I am going to show you one of the photos from Defense Exhibit 29, and we're going to talk about some of these injuries. All right, can you see your hands on the screen, Mr. Melton?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you would agree, for the purposes of the record, I am making a fist. Mr. Melton, you would agree that a fist looks like this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you make a fist and show the jury what your fist looks like? Okay, excellent. I want to talk about this injury here on the side of your thumb. Can you explain how you got that injury from punching drywall?
My hands are from work.
Are they?
I mean, no, I'm just saying my hands from work are naturally have nicks and such on them, but that very well could have occurred. I mean, from punching through a wall, there's also things inside the wall. There's siding on the wall that has, once you go through, there's nails that may have been there, but at that point, I mean, I have little nicks and cuts just from my profession.
Mr. Melton, isn't it fair to say as a plumber you wear gloves?
No, sir.
You never wear gloves?
I wear gloves, but not 100% of the time. No, sir.
Well, I showed you Defense Exhibit 37 through Defense Exhibit 40. There's a pair of gloves hanging on your wall, Mr. Melton.
Hanging on my wall.
But you don't use them.
When you're working with your hands, you work quickly also. And you don't have time to always have gloves on. And at that point in time, I'm not working with raw sewage or anything. This is new materials. So with that being said, you not worried about bacteria or anything infecting your hands. You just work through it.
So today, on February 9th, 2026, you remember exactly how you were working on January 19, 2001.
It's easily to assess because I worked it for so long.
Sure. But you don't remember whether or not Ms. Baker told you she was going to be home alone the day before her death.
You know, in moments under stress, I can't recall everything.
So let me ask you about this injury here. So did this come from the wall or did that come from work?
Is that an injury?
Right here.
I don't know if I...
Or how about this injury here, Mr. Melton? How would you get this injury on the top of your hand going in this direction from punching sheetrock?
That even appears... Oh, yes. Even when you punch through walls, you got to pull your hand back. I'm punching into a wall, pulling my hand back, punching through a wall. And even at work, I have nicks, cuts, and even burns from soldering pipes and hot materials. I can't tell if that's an injury from hitting something or an injury from work, and it may look like that even looks like it could be even a slight solder. It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard for me to assess that.
But this is the first time in 25 years that you've ever made the statement that these injuries were from work. Would you agree?
I've never been asked the question as far as if they're from...
And just to make sure we're on
that I can recall.
Just to make sure we're on the same page, your exact statement was to law enforcement is the injuries. Matter of fact, we don't even have to go to law enforcement. Your exact statement in the court before these jurors was that these injuries came from punching the wall in your apartment. Do you recall making that statement?
Was this prior to being shown pictures?
Mr. Melton, do you recall making that statement?
Yes, I had injuries from my hands from hitting the wall. That's what I recall.